I had a whole good, lovingly long take that I filmed yesterday. It was the perfect length, and lo and behold, what happens? While I'm on autopilot, I delete the entire folder that this was on. I lost everything. Let's get to it. Actually, you know what? No, fuck that. We're not going to do all of the films. We're going to do just the ones that really stood out to me, whether they're great or bad. If it's a short that stood out to me, yes, absolutely. If it's a feature film that didn't stand out to me, no way. Now that I've made that clear, we can get back to regular programming. Welcome to the New Movie Project. Before I go further into this, I can happily say that the whole Little Women story in of itself is not for me whatsoever. Let me just put which cast member from each adaptation I've seen is the best one. The best Jo is Katharine Hepburn. Meg, I forget her name, she's the one from the 90s. The best Amy, Florence Pugh. There's the first one from the new adaptation. The best Beth, Claire Danes. The best Aunt March, Meryl Streep. The best Marmee? I don't know. I think the closest one for me would be Laura Dern. Just because she's just playing herself. And it works. It really does. The best Mr. Lawrence? I don't know. The newer the adaptations were, the softer they got. But if there was one that really did catch me by surprise was the 49 version. The best Professor? Gabriel Byrne, if only for the kindness of his presence. And the best Laurie, Christian Bale. I mean, Timothée Chalamet, whenever he was feeling feelings that weren't positive feelings, he looked like a big anime boy. Greta Gerwig's version is the best because it does something different to the story and makes all of the characters as fleshed out as humanly possible for a feature-length time. If you're going to watch Little Women for the story, watch the Greta Gerwig version. If you want to watch them for performances, go to the Katharine Hepburn one. This makes Oh Dreamland look like doo-doo. If you are a documentarian and want to get the quick how-tos on how to make a good documentary in a short span of time, and I don't mean making it, I mean presenting it, watch Thursday's Children. It grabs your attention within the first 2 minutes, handles its themes professionally, and it looks like it's made by a seasoned director. Oh my god. Wow. Robert Eggers made The Witch. I haven't seen it, but I am very familiar with the general consensus about that film, was that it's promising and he can do better. Lo and behold, he does better. In about 40 years, some kid on YouTube is going to record himself talking about how he didn't see all the classics when he was a little kid, and he finally saw The Lighthouse. A sophomore film as a masterpiece. Goddamn. Let me break down how good the cinematography is in this film. You have black and white, 35 on a 1.19 to 1 aspect ratio, basically making this film a square, but here's where it gets a little bit further. They use lenses, Belkin lenses, from the 1910s to the 1930s for this movie, and with a custom-made cyan filter over the film to achieve the orthochromatic look from the olden times. Now, what that would translate to on a positive, so digital, would be very, very, very dark red. It would accentuate the color of the skies and could accentuate the colors of the eyes. There's an image in this film that will be forever ingrained in my head, forever. And I'm not going to say which one because I'd rather you, the viewer, watch this film for yourself. Take away the technical achievement that this film made. Take that away and what do you have left? A color by the numbers war film. That's it. That's really it. It's not something I'm going to hark on about for the rest of time. You have all of this stuff happening, but it just made me wish I was watching other war films. I'd rather I was watching Paths of Glory or They Shall Not Grow Old, the Peter Jackson documentary, or this VHS stored in the arse end of my house of a school performance I was in primary school about the 4-day truce that the Germans and Brits had during Christmas. I'd rather watch that than watch 1917 again, because at least with that VHS, as far as I can remember, that is all in one take, and it's actually all in one take. How about that? I went in this film with the full knowledge that this was made by the same people who made Napoleon Dynamite. And when you know that, it really, really shows. And it's pretty obvious, but in a good way. The characters spark similarities to Napoleon Dynamite's characters. So Jack Black as Nacho, he's the weird protagonist with a perm that wants to prove something. Unlike in Napoleon Dynamite, Napoleon doesn't know what he wants to prove, he's just existing. We have a sidekick who, over time, finds some sense of purpose with Nacho, and not just because of Nacho. And we have a scene-stealing, wise sage who gives the main character some wisdom that doesn't really pay off until way later on in the film. This film really taught me to not really be completely dismissive of films in general. It was just so miserable and dour in its content. Like, it's very much clearly a boob fetish film. That's it. It's about a model who's on a week-long photo shoot, but it's just plotless and aimless and boring and sad in the grand scheme of Russ Meyer's career. Because Russ Meyer, while he was in his career heights, he was setting his trails on fire with films like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls and Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. But then this film rears its ugly head around after a 22-year-long retirement. Even the dialogue is just not as good. It's just... the campiness of Russ Meyer's shtick is just lost in this film. It's just no longer existent, and it's pretty sad. Going into this film, I was fully aware that this was not Suicide Squad, as in this was not involving anybody from Suicide Squad that was the company that edited it, and David Ayer taking the reins in directing and writing, or partaking in writing. There was one writer, her name was Christina Hodson, and one director, Kathy Yan. And what I could tell, this film had some semblance of more control over the contents therein. What did we get? A better film. A competent, fun, exciting, and actually a film I'd love to watch at a party again. Ewan McGregor is the funniest person in the movie. He chews every single scene he's in, and it's amazing. It's just so much fun to watch. I wish comic book films were less than 2 hours long. I didn't feel my time was wasted. I didn't feel any dragging in the pacing whatsoever. It's actually a proper film. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn in the film reminded me very specifically of Shani Wallace as Nancy in the 68 musical of Oliver Twist. And I had such a crush on Nancy when I was a little kid. And seeing that energy in Harley Quinn and her dynamic between her and the kid was really nice. That's it. That's my review. That's my entire review. There are films that exist where we, the audience, see a character who is going through hell and back. The Nightingale. Roma. It is very abundantly clear that the creator, be it Jennifer Kent for The Nightingale or Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, gives a shit, has some clear sense of compassion, empathy, sympathy, and some sort of feeling for the characters that they're putting through hell and back. Does Capernaum have any of that? Here's a good answer for you. No, this film is one of the most morally bankrupt decrepit, misery porn filled pieces of shit I have ever seen. No, really. The worst. There was just nothing at all to give any semblance of feeling towards the lead character. It's just manipulative hogwash. The music is inappropriate. And by the way, Nadim Lebeki, the director of this film, is married to the composer who also helped produce this movie because he's fucking loaded. It's peak Arab feminism. Nadim Lebeki very clearly made this film because it's bad form to go around wearing a hat that says, "I'm a poverty tourist." This is just tragedy porn and poverty porn for the rich people who haven't seen a good film in a long time. If you want to see a good film like this, like I mentioned, Roma, with Capernaum in this case, what is there? Fuck all. I don't ever want to see this movie again, nor do I ever want to listen to anybody try to tell me that this movie is good, because it isn't. You've all been fooled by the long-standing ovation I got at Cannes. There clearly is no actual depth or charm put into this film. Like, let's be serious for a moment. But if I talk about this film any longer, the migraine I'm going to get from this, from thinking or talking about this film, is going to just set me back for the rest of the day, and I do not need that right now. It's a really nice day, and the last thing I need to do is talk or think or have any semblance of an inkling of a thought about Capernaum. It is a bad film. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all at the end of the month. Bye.